So Chhatrapati Shivaji instituted many administration and military reforms which stood the Marathas in good stead later on. All of these are given in a book called Ajna Patra, written by Ramchandra Pant. We'll talk about this personality later on. He was the Amatya, or one of the revenue officers in Chhatrapati Shivaji's government. He was the youngest of the Ashtapradhan, and later on he assumes much more importance in Marathas and Maharashtra's politics. But at the time, Chhatrapati Shivaji instituted some very key reforms which stood the test of time and enabled his future generation to fight on. First and foremost, what he did was he got rid of the Watandari system. Every fort, up to that point, every fort was a fiefdom. It was a completely built up fort, and each of these persons controlling, each of the Deshmukhs was a king in himself. So he got rid of these land-based emoluments, and instead he instituted a salaried army. He would pay them rates that were one of the best in India at the time. And always the military commanders would be paid higher than their civilian counterparts. So as a result, he could draw all these different people, all these Watandars into his own army and create a salaried army, which is a concept of at least 150 to 200 years ahead of his time. Also in this we see that Chhatrapati Shivaji recognized a flaw in what was the prevalent system at the time. The Mughal Mansabdari system was prevalent. It was strong, it was going strong. It had built up an entire empire stretching from Kashmir all the way to Kalyan and the Narmada river. But Chhatrapati Shivaji recognized that this Mansabdari system had a flaw in it, in that it required a very strong central figure to be able to hold those Mansabdars in place. Plus, it was a system of dog eat dog. Every Mansabdar was trying for a higher Mansabdari. There was no other motivation for them. A person with a 500 Mansabdari would go fight some war and in return expect 1000 Mansabdari. There was no feeling of fighting for the Mughal flag or fighting for the Mughal empire in that. It was just a case of people fighting for themselves, getting in competition and having sufficient money and forces to expand the empire. So Shivaji recognized this flaw, and hence he first did away with the Watandari system. Secondly, he introduced the whole concept of Hindavi Swarajya. He said that you are going to fight for an ideal. This was something totally different from the times when people were just fighting for actually the king. The king died, the whole battlefront switched 180 degrees, which is what happened at the time of the second battle of Panipat. One stray arrow found its way to Hemchandra. He fell down from his elephant and the entire battlefield simply ran in 4 different directions. Why? Because there was no ideal in place. The whole ideal was about jiski lathi uski bhais. So once this lathi was not in Hemchandra's hand, the whole battlefield was lost. So this sentiment Chhatrapati Shivaji controlled by introducing this concept of Swarajya, that you are fighting for a certain ideal, you are fighting for a certain flag, and this kingdom is not about me. His Swarajya ave, his Shrinchi Ichha. This Swarajya is God's will. It is not my will. It is not Chhatrapati Shivaji's Swarajya. It is God's will that you are fighting for. And it is this ideal which stood them in stead for the next 27 years. Now these are the things he did on a temporal level.